For the first 3 years, my marriage felt like a dream. My wife and I were inseparable, always laughing, dreaming up our future, and basking in what seemed like unbreakable love. But life has a way of testing even the strongest bonds. And when I lost my job, the cracks in our perfect life began to show. I stayed hopeful at first, despite the tough job market. But I wasn't prepared for how my wife started to drift away. It was gradual, a missed conversation here, a distracted glance there. She grew distant, her warmth replaced by excuses. Some nights, she'd say she was exhausted. Others, she'd claim her mind was too cluttered to talk. I tried to give her space, but the growing gap between us was impossible to ignore. I'd ask what was wrong, and she'd dismiss me, insisting everything was fine. But it wasn't. The breaking point came when she started locking herself in her room for hours. She wasn't working late, yet she'd vanish behind that door, leaving me alone with my spiraling thoughts. My gut screamed that something was off, but I couldn't pinpoint it. Then I noticed her coming home with new extravagant purchases. Designer clothes, flashy accessories. Things we couldn't afford on our strained budget. I told myself she might just be treating herself, but deep down I knew better. Desperate for answers, but wary of a confrontation without proof, I turned to my friend Marcus, a tech wizard who could unravel any digital mystery. One night, while my wife slept, I slipped her phone from the nightstand, my hands trembling with guilt and dread. I drove to Marcus's place, praying she wouldn't notice the phone was gone. Within minutes, he cracked it open, and what we found shattered me. Her phone revealed a secret life. She was selling explicit photos online, through platforms like OnlyFans to fund her lavish spending. But that wasn't the worst of it. Buried in her files was a video, graphic, undeniable evidence of her cheating. It showed her in a hotel room with multiple men, doing things I never could have imagined. My stomach churned as the reality sank in. The woman I loved had betrayed me in ways I couldn't comprehend. I sat outside Marcus's house until dawn, grappling with the truth. My mind was a storm of anger, hurt and disbelief, but one thing was clear. I couldn't stay in this marriage. I drove to a lawyer's office the moment it opened, handing over the damning evidence, and laying out my story. I didn't want to fix things. I didn't want her apologies. I wanted out. The divorce proceedings were a blur. When my wife saw the evidence in court, her face cycled through shock, shame and defeat. She had no defense. The judge ruled decisively in my favor, granting me substantial alimony, due to the severity of her betrayal, and a portion of our shared assets. When it was over, I walked out of the courtroom unburdened, a weight lifted from my chest. The pain of her deception lingered, but I refused to let it define me. I cut all ties with her, leaving her to face the fallout of her choices. The court's ruling would follow her for years, a constant reminder of the life she built on lies. As for me, I turned my focus inward, rebuilding my life from the ground up. I learned from my mistakes, grew stronger, and embraced the freedom I'd reclaimed. The divorce marked the end of a painful chapter, and the start of a challenging, but liberating one. Letting go wasn't easy, but it was necessary. The betrayal stung, but over time, the anger faded, replaced by peace. I didn't need her explanations or closure. I needed to move forward. Her actions cost her everything, while I walked away with something far greater, my self-respect. Now, I'm focused on the future, grounded in the knowledge that I deserve honesty, trust, and genuine love. The marriage I lost was a painful lesson, but it gave me something invaluable, myself. And that's more than enough to build a new life on.